This is the Amitace podcast. I'm Tom White, and we are live at the STN National Conference in Tampa, Florida. Thanks to the TriCaster Mini S for their support of our production here today. And I am joined by a longtime friend. I mean, we've known each other, I don't know how many years, and literally met yesterday for the first time in person. Jessica Roberts from Collierville in Tennessee. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
And Jessica, you are 2 years into your program at Collierville.
Correct,
What do you guys have going on there?
So I have been teaching 17 years at competing schools to Collierville, and so this is going on my second year. And the second that I got to Collierville High School, it was an immediate gut what they had and buy everything new. So it's been kind of a hectic, crazy year and a half for me so far. But we are completely turning what was an existing program into something completely new.
Okay, and revitalizing a program like that's tough because you have to kind of figure out what the mindset of the original,
yes,
and then swap that. Talk about how what your thought process is going through that.
So I looked at what they were doing successfully prior to me, and they were doing a daily live announcement show, and they enjoyed that, but it wasn't so much indicative of what their students were capable of. They weren't doing any storytelling. They weren't finding any stories in the schools. They were just writing scripts and reading them. And so I wanted to give us a control room where we have as many positions as possible because the students love that so much. So instead of 5, I upgraded us. Now we have 16 positions in a control room. And it sounds insane, but we even have like a master control engineer, a line engineer, a producer, assistant producer. I've broken apart so many positions that all have a job. And so now it's more of a class hands-on thing. And so I haven't kept anything in the control room. I gutted everything.
Wow. And
had to completely build it new from scratch. So the things we did keep were the cameras in the TV studio and the tripods that they're on, but those are in the process of being upgraded as well. So pretty much I could not use anything existing in the new control room. But I did take the equipment that was still working and turned it into like a rolling live streaming fly pack. Mm-hmm. And so that's something that was a great use of equipment that was still working, is kind of turning into like a new, fly pack for us.
Give it a purpose beyond its original
purpose. Correct, yeah.
So you talk about having teams of kids. Mm-hmm. How do you train that? Because that's something that, as I'm talking with other teachers, they're like, well, if I just do 3 or 4, I only have to train 3 or 4 positions. How do you train 16 different positions? Yeah,
so I have found the best way is making them trial by fire, like just throwing them in the deep end and seeing if they can swim. I encourage and tell all of them I can teach you a position in 5 minutes or less. Like sitting and being a position in a control room is not scary. It's the nuances during the production that you will have the most trouble with, and thinking on the fly and making sure you're not off task. So I have found that just kind of doing some run-throughs is what we call, we just have a show and we run through it a couple different times for that position works best for us, and then we go live the next day. So I am a big believer in we learn by doing. I don't sit there and have a PowerPoint and we kind of explain or anything like that. That I can't teach like that. My kids don't seem to want to learn like that anymore. So we just fire things up and jump in, both feet.
The first day I taught, I walked in with 70 PowerPoint slides and thought I was going to be the greatest teacher ever.
You were waiting for them to just learn that day.
They were
and
ready.
You found out the hard way that is just not how it works sometimes.
I think about slide 5, I just gave up on the PowerPoint. So when it comes to STN, mm-hmm. Talk about why it's important to you and your program to have kids here and for you to be here and work with all the kids.
Yeah, I think Student Television Network is such a great example of another student-led organization. Students are down there producing the show and being such a part of everything that we're doing here. And so this organization, it's national, but it doesn't feel that way. Like, it's really small and tight-knit. You see the same, schools, you see the same kids, you see the same teachers, and it's really like an empowerment community where we're all having the same goal of there's really nothing else for us in the nation, and this is kind of what we have made our home. And so for one, they just have, the outline of the program is so great. You immediately come in after your travel day and you're competing.
Yeah.
You're rocking out. And if you don't compete, you can see everybody competing and you see the chaos and the struggle. And I call it the productive struggle. Seeing that and seeing other schools, make their deadlines and the excitement, and then you see the schools that don't make the deadlines, but they're still proud of themselves on the very first day, and that's something you just don't get in other organizations. And, it's just, Student Television Network is just one of those things that they're doing everything right, in the right direction. We're so open to change, and I say we just because I'm involved on some levels as well. But even if you're not involved, they have such a good outreach that any teacher is involved immediately. Mm-hmm. You don't have to be on a board of directors to make changes. But some of the things they do well is they listen to feedback and immediately change for the next year. So last year there was such a big issue with teachers helping and taking over for the groups and turning in for competitions that they have the edit room this year where teachers can't even go inside to turn in the projects.
I laughed yesterday. I was walking back behind it, and there's just a stack of teachers all just kind of
peeking in.
Just
yes, and you are kind of like mama hen. You want to check on your babies, but at the same time, you're so proud of them for completing stuff by themselves, and that's an immediate change from year to year. And so same with contests. It's an immediate change. Last year there wasn't vertical storytelling or something, and that's a category this year. Yeah. And we were in a teachers meeting where they were talking about they want more social media stuff that's not like narrative filmmaking, but more social, sketch type of TikTok-y things. Mm-hmm. And that was an immediate, let's see how we can do it for next year. Wow. That sort of mentality of this industry changes so often that you have to be, able to change. You have to be having that mentality because you both know the technology world. You buy something today and this Friday they're like, oh, we have the brand new coming out. So you can't just be stuck in what worked 10 years ago is how I'm going to do it forever. What equipment I use is what I'm going to use forever. You have to be open and changing, and that's what Student Television Network does best.
And you mentioned, the community nature, the thing that I've noticed the most, and it kind of hit me. I presented earlier this morning. I literally had every part of the country represented, mm-hmm. and when we pulled into town on Saturday afternoon, all the kids, all working, all mm-hmm. in the you can see, you're like, well, that these are different groups, and just that birth of the breadth, I guess, is of just all the schools and all the people represented, all the communities represented, all the stories represented.
And the best part about that is that the students understand that community factor, and they also will be in part of people's projects, or they know that they're competing and they need to be interviewed, or be in somebody's TikTok. They absolutely just immediately jump right in because they know what it's like. Yeah. So the community just extends beyond teachers. It's a student-led as well. But even speaking to me and you, everyone is online these days. And so me and you have been working closely for so many years, and the same can be said for all of us. Yep. We've been working closely with so many, things about different states and different organizations and finding what works best for us. And that's all online. And so opportunities like the Student Television Network, we actually finally get to be in person.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and that's such an incredible thing. Yeah. So,
well, where can people find about your program, see some of your kids' work?
Yeah, so we have a website that they're constantly updating, colliervilledragonmedia.com, and then same as our social handles at Collierville Dragon Media on all the things.
Awesome. So. Well, thank you for spending some time with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me on the podcast with the new equipment here. Yep. I am obsessed with how awesome it is. Is this the TriCaster switcher?
Yep, it's the Mini S.
Okay, and then built-in audio board, built-in video cameras, and then the boom arms and stuff were super easy to use. I'm very excited. I think I am going to look into getting one of these from you.
Awesome.
Where do I find this from you?
Amitace.com.
Okay.
We'll have it up on the website here soon. We're not quite ready for market, but we're close.
Okay.
All right. Thanks. You. Thank you for spending some time
Absolutely.
with us.